All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending what part of the world you are joining us from. Welcome to Conversations at the Edge. I am your host, Alex Faust, and I'm very excited to be introducing Kevin Rogers for the first time to the Growth Institute community. Kevin has spent years traveling the country as a stand-up, or had spent years traveling the country as a stand-up comedian before discovering a new professional passion, which was direct response sales copywriting. And he spent 10 years as a freelance copywriter, writing and chiefing the sales copy for high profile and insanely profitable product launches with the industry's top producers. But then things changed again when Kevin discovered how a simple joke formula could be used as a powerful marketing hook and began teaching it to marketers as the 60-second sales hook, which we'll touch on a little bit today. He released a book on the same name. And then because of the success of the book, ended up creating the company Copy Chief, which is a private community-based forum and copy training center where talented copywriters partner with value-driven product creators and content providers to produce forward-thinking ad campaigns. We actually just hired a copywriter a couple of weeks ago from Copy Chief and couldn't be happier with the performance of him so far. So today we're going to be talking about the role copy plays in a marketing and sales team, how to be thinking about adding that muscle to your organization. And we thought who better than the best in the business, Kevin Rogers. So Kevin, welcome to Conversations at the Edge. Welcome to Growth Institute. Where are you calling in from today?
Thanks, Alex. It's great to be here. I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida, where it's still warm and rainy today, but otherwise a great place to live. We really enjoyed here. We've been here about 20 years.
Awesome. Well, it's very cold and rainy here in Philadelphia, so I guess warm and rainy beats that.
Yeah.
And just a reminder to the folks who are here live, if you have questions, please type them into the chat. The Q&A, the last 10 minutes are for you, so we'll be sure to get your questions over to Kevin. But I want to get started. I want to jump right in and kind of understand, you were a copywriter. Why did you end up starting this new business, Copy Chief? Where did you kind of see a need in the market?
Yeah. There was and still is really a huge gap between clients looking for copywriters and copywriters looking for either first clients or better clients. And what was interesting is whenever I would go to a good conference, I would see these connections being made between these two parties. A business owner would meet a copywriter. You'd see him at the bar talking for 2 hours. They'd be best friends by the end of the conference. They'd go off and they'd create amazing campaigns together. And I thought, man, what a bummer that this can only happen currently in this room. Right? How many people aren't in this room who would be making these connections? So I thought, can I create a digital version of this that's open 24/7, where it feels like a good conference? Everybody's learning similar stuff together, and then they can take the best of that, it suits them best, and go implement it together. And that was the core premise of Copy Chief. And, spent 6-7 months building it, opened it. You have no idea if people will show up or not. And maybe stupidly limited it to 100 members for the opening. We opened on Labor Day here in the States, 2014, sold out by the end of Labor Day, by that Monday. And the 100 people that came in, Alex, blew my mind. Quality people, smart, hungry, curious, and sharing. Everybody had this immediate sense of sharing, and we were critiquing each other's copy, and it was phenomenal. And it's just kept on that way for 8 years now. Just a tremendous community of people who are supportive of each other, who bring, they go out in the field and they report back the best stuff that's working, right? And so it's been great to now start to formalize the way we go about helping these two parties connect by what we've learned over the 8 years of what are the needs, how can we train copywriters to serve those needs, how can we make sure that both parties come with a mutual respect and understanding of what it means to work with a copywriter and a great client. And it's been a joy.
That's awesome. Congratulations on your success thus far. And thank you for your success thus far. because
I'm
now we're
glad
reaping the
it's helping
benefits.
you as well.
Yeah.
It's a win, a three-way win when you come in and hire one of our copywriters. Fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm curious, in your opinion, what is the role of copywriting in a marketing or sales function?
It's critical, right? And it's funny that we're talking about this week when the big buzz in the copywriting industry has been about Chat GPT and how AI is advancing. Artificial intelligence has been writing copy for years. But the argument always is that, like, yes, if you're a person who wants to get paid to put words into a document, then yes, you are going to be replaced by AI very soon. And good for you for being replaced, because you really want to be a typist. Is that your goal, right? Like this is called evolution. Look at car. The conveyor line, that Henry Ford created, that changed the industrial universe. Right now, there's hardly a human on that floor. It's all machines and robots, and so it's just how life goes. And but the people you do see on the floors of those production lines are the experts, are the quality inspectors, are the people who know how to run the machines, right? And so the function of copy is about the ideas, the humanness that we bring to it that a bot will never be able to replace. I was playing for like an hour last night with Chat GPT. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Alex, but it is an amazing. I just kept asking it questions. And one thing I noticed that fascinated me was the questions I would come up with. It's like, oh, I didn't realize half of these things were on my mind. Some of them I was making it up to make myself laugh. Other ones I was like truly curious. I was asking it like, what's a mixolydian in guitar? Because I'm learning guitar. And it gave me a fantastic answer, right? And so it's like a real-time search engine, I think, more than anything. I also asked it to write me a letter apologizing for missing a birthday party, and it gave me a really nice structure. But then I took it and I completely changed who the letter was from and to make it funny. So it's a really good collaborator for ideas. But the role that copy serves in a company is bringing those ideas. Somebody who has fresh energy, fresh eyes on your product and your messaging and your story, and that can represent you to the world, essentially, right? Through the written word, through video scripts. It's a complete game changer when you have somebody who gets you, who's inspired by what you do, and that you trust and can be inspired by their ideas. When those two forces come together, it's a complete game changer.
And so, I mean, is that the biggest misconception about copy, is that it's putting words on a document, or are there other kind of things that people are getting wrong about the role of copywriting and the power of it when you get it right?
Yeah, it's right. At the core, that's probably because that's a content writer, right? Probably the best thing I can help people understand is the difference between content and copy. Content is there to fill a page with hopefully useful information and build some nurture for your future customers, right? It doesn't need to necessarily get an action for somebody to click and do something else. It's just, we're building relationships. Copy is there to get an action. It is judged by its ability to have somebody read or watch a video and then take an action, whether that's a sale, whether that's joining a list, whether that's visiting a page. And so that's the big difference. Copywriters, we obsess about persuasion and persuasive tactics. That doesn't mean manipulation. It doesn't mean lying or being aggressive. It just means that there are a lot of things that every human brain does all the time as we're ingesting information. And if you understand sort of what those triggers are, you can do a masterful job of getting people to feel really good about taking an action that you want them to take, that you know is a good action for them to take. That's what copywriting is. The rest is just content.
Thank you. Really, really interesting. And, I'd like to kind of dig a little bit deeper on kind of cutting through the noise. And getting people to take action. I know you have this methodology for the 60-second sales hook. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that and how that's allowed you and your clients and the people that you're teaching to be able to persuade people effectively.
Yeah, it's a really powerful tool. And what's great about it is it's so simple that people want to use it when they hear what it is. It started from, as you mentioned, I was a stand-up comic for 10 years. Great way to spend your 20s. When you're single and you can be broke and you get to drive around the country and talk dirty to strangers in dark rooms and make no money, but have stories and friendships for a lifetime. That's what that was. But what I didn't realize until I found copywriting was what an amazingly persuasive skill that is. I mean, here you are, a stranger introduced to people, and you have to immediately win them over to want to listen to you talk for the next 30 minutes or more and get them to guffaw in their seats. Somebody, it's pretty amazing thing. I didn't think of it that way. I just, like anything, you learn how to do it and you keep getting better. But when it came to copywriting, I started studying persuasion. I was like, wow, there are all these parallels to comedy and copywriting, and started implementing a lot of those. And so what I did was I took a joke formula and then I turned it into what I call a sales hook. And the only thing I had to do to change it was change the last part. Okay. And the reason I chose this joke formula was because I asked myself, okay, if the hardest thing to do with our copy is to get attention with it, right? And then the next thing we have to do is win people over with it. And it has to be super short. What does that equate to in stand-up? And I equated it to someone's opening joke, particularly on a TV show. When a comic gets a shot, a TV shot, we call it, that can be a game changer if they do really well. And so the first thing they have to do is come out to this audience of potentially millions of people who have never heard of them and win them over with the first joke, establish their persona, set the tone, right? And you watch these, sometimes the first joke murders, other times it sets a tone. And by the third or fourth joke, people are bought in. And by the end of 5 minutes, it's like their new best friends. Like that's the goal. And so that's what we want to do with a sales hook. And so I'll tell you the joke formula. I'll give you an example of that. And then I'll show you how I changed it to a sales hook formula that anybody can use. And these are great. Everybody should have this in their bios, in their, on their YouTube trailers. Anytime you want somebody to download a freebie, this is the perfect formula. So the joke formula goes like this: identity, struggle, discovery, surprise. That's the 4-part formula. Okay. So identity, who are you? Struggle, what's going wrong? Because that's funny. What did you discover about what's going wrong that brought it to the next level? And then what is the surprise? So one of my favorite examples of this joke is a great comedian named Karen Rontowski. Her first Letterman shot, back when Letterman was a big deal. If you had a great Letterman shot, like Ray Romano ended up doing Everybody Loves Raymond because he did so good on Letterman, right? That's how big it can be. And so her opening joke was, my kids were so bad in Walmart today that I pulled the fly swatter off the shelf and I smacked them with it. And the second the fly swatter hit their ass, I realized I don't have kids. It's like hilarious, right? I mean, what is that, 15 seconds? And we know exactly who this woman is now, right? We've bonded over several things: annoying kids at Walmart, wanting to beat our own kids sometimes when they're just acting crazy. And then here's this woman now, but she's like beating strange kids, It's wrong, but it's funny. We can relate to it, and it breaks down a lot of walls, and we share this bonding moment with Karen, and now we're in for the ride, okay? So that's the example of the joke format. And now that you've heard it, if you remember it, you'll start to see it all the time. Watch a comic when they come out on the show and pay attention to their opening joke. Okay, so for us, how do we use it? Now, what's the part we change? Well, identity is important. We got to say who we are. Struggle's the key here. And this is the advantage we have as small business owners over big corporations, is that we can be honest and raw and share a struggle, because most of us are in business to help people solve problems we've solved for ourselves. That's what makes us experts, right? So we want to share a struggle. Discovery, what did we discover during the struggle that made the breakthrough to get us to the other side? And then the last part, though, we don't want to surprise people. We're not there to trick them into a reaction. We want to prove to them that it's safe to take the next step with us. So I changed that last part, surprise, to discover, to result, right? What is the result of the discovery? And that's the simple formula that we can use all throughout copy. And so mine, you actually read at the top of the show, right? How I condense it is, hey, I'm Kevin Rogers. I'm a former dead broke stand-up comedian who, when I discovered copywriting, started using joke formulas from my days as a comedian and turning them into sales hook formulas and teaching entrepreneurs how to use them to grow their business. Since then, I now get paid more in a month to help businesses grow than I used to in an entire year as a comedian. If you'd like to discover this simple 60-second sales hook that you can use anywhere in your marketing, click the button below and I'll see you on the next page. Tells the whole story, right? Now, in my case, and the cool thing about the formula is, like, you can beef up the parts or shrink them however you want. In my case, all I need to say about struggle is dead broke stand-up comic. Dead broke, you get it. It's like struggling artist. We all know what that is. You get that I probably learned a lot about how to talk to people while doing that, but nobody wants to be dead broke. Then I discovered this other thing and used what I learned being dead broke to make myself and other people a lot of money. So, geez, what is this formula? I'm very curious about seeing what it is. And that's it. It's something we can all apply to our marketing pretty easily.
That's awesome. I appreciate the examples, the funny jokes in there. So I'm curious, we're talking to business owners, leaders who might be wanting to bring some more copywriting expertise into their business. And so do you recommend somebody look for a full-time copywriter? Are you recommending people look at the freelance route? Like, what kind of route into bringing this, this muscle into an organization do you recommend?
Yeah, I think it's based on your needs, right? In your case, I think you knew you were looking for somebody almost full-time, if not full-time. You knew exactly what you needed from the copywriter, because I think, Alex, you were doing the work yourself, right? So that's the easiest scenario where it's like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm too busy to do it. And therefore, I'm not the best person to be doing it. Because even if I'm the best copywriter in the company, I got other stuff to worry about, and I'm not giving my full energy to it. If I can get somebody who does just this to come in, how much better could our copy be if they could, right, take what I'm doing a level higher? So but you may just need in the beginning what I call like utility copy, service copy. Naming webinars, writing pitches for webinars, writing Facebook ads. Facebook ads is a special skill, but somebody to churn out a lot of ideas so that you can test different ads, to help you come up with YouTube scripts and things, all the way to writing. Email is a big one. Most people need an email copywriter. Again, it's hard when you're busy to make your emails great. And email is still the most important channel we have in marketing. So most people, that's the first place they start, is let me get somebody really good who can be dedicated to making my emails great. The way I recommend going about it is to start with a test project always, right? In your case, you and I work together to help you create a process where you could vet people really well. And you conducted some calls. And again, you knew what you were looking for. So you were there. If somebody's hiring a copywriter for the first time, I'd say to them, take just one thing that you do routinely, and assign that to a writer. So do a small, put the call out, get some samples in, see what impresses you. Have a 10, 15-minute call with the ones you think are best and most qualified. And then give them a test project. You can even do the test project before the call if you want. A lot of people do that. And then, we're talking about just pay them enough to be respectful, right? It's not really cool to ask somebody to write for free, unless it's like a really big job. Like, we're filling up copy teams for Grant Cardone's company, and people are willing to, like, here's my sample, but they still pay. It's like $400 to write us an advertorial or something like that, right? So it's worth investing a few $100 into something that hopefully you'll be able to use either way, to see, is the person on time? Are they cool to work with? And plus, now that they're creating original work for you with your voice in mind. You're seeing how much research they're doing about you, and you're getting to see their dedication. It's a perfect, and this can be done in a week, and you'll know so much about whether this is a good person for you or not, right? Voice is very important, obviously. Another thing you can do if you don't even want to go through all that is, same part, like get people applying, and then do a paid critique for them to critique even just an email or a sales page, because then you'll see their brain at work. At least you won't see their writing as much. But for instance, again, you could offer somebody, hey, can I pay you $200 to critique this landing page or sales page? I want to see what you would change about it. And again, worst case scenario, for $200, you might get a game conversion boosting idea for how to change the headline or something. Best case scenario, you fall in love with their ideas and you go forward from there.
Yeah. And we actually did a combination of that. So we did have, we had people start off with a project, and they wrote an email for one of our past webinars. And immediately I could tell who spent time and watched the webinar multiple times over to create something that was truly unique versus the people who had a webinar template and they plugged in our name and, our call to action, and that was it. So, I think you can learn a lot from those projects, and it was certainly helpful for narrowing down in our interview process. Awesome. So I'm also curious about like the nuances of finding a good fit. Like if you're hiring a freelance copywriter, does it make sense to put them through like an interview process like you would any other employee, or are you thinking it's less about that and more just about the quality of their work?
No, I think it is important that you feel a connection with your writer. And that's why I always say this is unlike any other vendor or contractor you'll hire. A web designer, you can fill out their sheet and tell them what colors you like and give them some examples, and they can probably do a pretty good job. This is a person, again, who's going to be representing you and your company and your product and your brand with words, and nothing resonates as deeply as words. If you can get people to spend even 5 minutes reading a message from you, that is a private one-to-one bonding moment, right? And so the stakes are higher. You need a copywriter who you feel good about. You want them crazy curious about you, your product. Copywriters must have great curiosity. They have to resonate with your product, your brand, your audience. Hopefully they've solved similar problems for themselves that you solve for people, and they can relate to your audience, right? The other critical thing is that you're getting fresh eyes on your curse of knowledge, right? So there's a golden moment of research for a copywriter when they come into a new project where they don't know everything, right? And so, yes, we want to get them caught up quickly, but you also want to give them the minutes, like, just look at everything I've been doing and what is anything not making sense. A good copywriter will go, you're using this acronym, and I Googled it and I still had 4 choices of what it might mean. You made me work. You took me away I had to fill in the gaps myself. We can't use that acronym. We gotta, and so little things like that make us not the best copy. I do still in my business. I'll use lingo and acronyms, assuming everybody gets it. And so it's really important that you bond. You don't have to be best friends, but there's got to be something about your copywriter that you feel good about, and there's a connection there.
Great. Thank you for that. And just a reminder to the folks who are here live, if you do have questions, feel free to type them into the chat. Would love to get them over to Kevin. I'm curious also, when you're looking for copywriters and to bring copywriting into your business, I'm sure, it's not a one size fits all in terms of copywriters. So there are different types of copywriters that you should be kind of considering depending on what your goals are as an organization.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it starts, what we do in Copy Chief is when somebody comes into our program, say a new copywriter, we train them, we have them choose what we call a money skill, which is a first thing to get really good at, right? So it might be email, might be Facebook ads, might be like, advertorials, pre-sale pages, landing pages, webinars, whatever it is. And we say, just get really good at this first, right? And then go look for people who are looking for specifically that. And then you don't have to worry about knowing how to write everything, because you're a strategist as much as you are a writer. It also depends for you as the company. If your marketing plan is fine and your funnels are working great, then you just need to plug in a good person. But if you're counting on somebody to be a marketing strategist, obviously you're going to look for somebody with more experience, And so it's really pliable. But again, start with what you need now and ask people to supply samples that are close to that. And that should get you there.
Awesome. So we do have a question from Emery in the community. Does this apply to creating webinars?
Yeah, 100%. And webinars are particularly a specialty because is important as the actual webinar itself is. As you know, if you've been running them in your marketing, getting people to the webinar is huge. Like that can be a game changer. Like you may be converting 10 or 15% of sales every time you do a webinar. Well, now, 500 people are showing up, but only 100 or signing up, but only 100 are. So if you can get 10% more people to just show up to the webinar, it's a huge revenue increase right there. And then the follow-up after the webinar to get people to watch the replay, to get people to take action. Maybe you're going to edit down a full webinar into a shorter thing, right? So 100% applies to webinars, and there's more than just the webinar script itself.
Great. So we have another question. We're an ultra niche technical market. So what's the best way to find the right person, and how much technical know-how, if any, should we be looking for? Because technical people typically can't write well.
Yeah, it's very true, and a great question. This is where you want to balance, again, for you, how much do you want to invest in getting them caught up, right? They have to be comfortable with tech speak, if they live in the woods, it's probably, I'm an outdoorsman. That's my life. It's like, so, you want somebody who's comfortable with tech, but again, doesn't have the curse of knowledge. And you're right, super technical people. There are some very good B2B technical copywriters. It is a smaller group because, like that person said, they don't often cross over, but they're out there. So you just have to advertise for that. But here's one thing I'll say, and you and I fixed this, Alex, with your request. Don't make your requirements so high that you're looking for a unicorn, right? In your case, originally you were preferring a bachelor's degree in English. And I said, we just cut out 80% of the market or more right there. You know what I mean? And so we amended that. And my guess is your copywriter doesn't have that. And you, at this point, you don't care whether they do or not, right? So that's what I would say is particularly in tech. It's like, yeah, make sure they're comfortable and spend some time in the world already for pleasure, have an interest in it, but don't make it a requirement, or you're going to really be, fishing in an ocean there.
Awesome. So we've only got like 1 minute left. I do want to ask, any final thoughts from you to the community? And if people are interested in learning more about Copy Chief, where should they go?
Well, I'd love to give you the 60-second sales hook book. for free, and you can get that at copychief.com. You'll get the annoying pop-up. Just fill that out. It'll give you the book and a 4-part training and put you on my list. And if you want to hire a copywriter, we have a special here to hire only deal for $200. You can join to do just that. That's at copychief.com/hire. And then we'll post your ad up and get you hooked up with some great copywriters.
Awesome. And I would definitely recommend it. It worked very well for us. And I've got a list of people on the virtual bench when we need more. So it's been a great experience working with Kevin. And I really appreciate you taking some time and talking about copywriting. It's an incredibly important aspect to marketing and sales. And appreciate you being here. Thank you to the community and look forward to seeing you all again very soon.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kevin. Take care.